And then whether you're sitting or lying down, I'll invite you to notice the places where your body is connecting to the ground beneath you. So if you're sitting, notice your sitting bones, your legs, your feet. Feel that connection with the ground beneath you. Maybe the eyes softly closed now. Feel that sense of heaviness as your body connects to the earth beneath you. And then I'll invite you to pay attention to the inside of your body. Notice how your body is feeling. And if you do find any places inside your body that feel tight or tense or uncomfortable, can you invite softness into those places? Soften your face, soften your throat, soften your shoulders, soften your belly. And then starting to become aware of your breath. See if you can notice the sensation of your breath flowing in through your nose and flowing out through your nose. The coolness or warmth of the air inside your nostrils. And perhaps you could notice the sensation of your breath inside your throat. Or perhaps you could notice how your rib cage is moving. Feel how your rib cage expands a little bit as you breathe in. And then draws back in as you breathe out. Perhaps you could notice the sensation of your breath in the abdomen. And it might just be a very subtle feeling, abdomen gently drawing out with the in-breath and then coming back in with the out-breath. Noticing whatever you can notice. Stepping into this present moment, observing your breath, your body, and the connection with your body and the ground. Tuning into the felt sense. So we're letting go a little bit of the thoughts so we can focus more on what's right here and now, tuning into the felt sense inside the body. And then you may like to begin to very gently reopen your eyes. But of course, you could keep your eyes closed at any time you want to during the yoga practice today. I invite you to touch your fingertips to the floor on either side. And let's take 3 sun breaths here together. You might like to hold a little bit longer at the top. Provided you don't have high blood pressure, you might like to hold the inhalation a little bit at the top. It's completely up to you. So when you're ready to breathe in, reach the arms out and up, palms joined together overhead. And as I said, if you want to make that pause a tiny bit longer, you can. When you're ready to exhale, slowly releasing the arms out and back down. And 2 more just like that. Follow your breath. Pause at the top if that feels right. and releasing when you're ready to exhale. One more. And then you might like to take a few circles through your shoulders. Keep it nice and slow, lifting your shoulders up, rolling back, down and forward. Let's see if you can release any tension or tightness there as you circle. And then let the shoulders relax. So if you have your hands resting just lightly on your legs or your knees, when you're ready to next breathe in, come a little bit forwards and then lifting your chest and then gazing upwards. And when you exhale, rounding back. So think of your navel center coming in and lowering your chin down. And so sitting on a folded blanket like me, it might feel more comfortable to move that out the way with the inhale. Lifting your chest, lifting your gaze, and then with the exhale, round back. So notice that movement through your spine, like a wave of movement that starts at the base and then travels all the way up. And you'll notice also how your pelvis is tilting back and forward. So you might continue this way, keeping the hands resting. Or if you'd like to bring the arms in as well, with the next inhalation, as you lift your chest and gaze up, you could take the arms out to the sides, reach out for your fingertips. And then with the exhale, as you round back, give yourself a big hug. And then continue following your breath. Creating that sense of openness with the inhales, and then like you're going into your shell with the exhales. Very nice. And just one more, if you're still going with that. Finish off with a big hug. We all could do with a hug right now. Pausing there, you might want to close your eyes, checking in with how you're feeling, and then slowly begin to calm back up again. Release your hands. With your next breath in, try lifting your arms up. Keep your shoulders fairly relaxed here. And then with your exhale, come across into a side stretch. With your inhale, flow back into the center until you're reaching up again, and then exhale to the next side. Let it be a slow and smooth movement, as though you're moving through water. Reach up with your inhales. Let's do one more each way. Oh, beautiful. I just had a little crack in my spine. That was the spinal adjustment I didn't need from the chiropractor. Releasing your arms down when you're ready. And then take a few more rolls through your shoulders if you like. Okay, so we will do a little bit of hip mobility. So let's change it around a little bit. I quite often do this one lying on the back, but let's do it lying on the side today. So it's just a bit of a different relationship with gravity. So if you lie yourself, just making sure that you can see me on the screen, if you lie yourself right down on your side, with your knees bent, your knees stacked on top of each other, your feet stacked on top of each other, and then having a hand in front just to help you balance. Now with your head, I actually prefer to stretch my lower arm out and then rest my head there on my arm. You could also have a blanket under your head if you want to. Or sometimes what I do is Just lift my head a little bit and then rest my head in my hand. So whichever feels better. Start to lift your top knee and then pointing your top knee towards the ceiling or wherever it feels like a comfy stretch. And start to make circles here. Now your circle might be quite small, so don't feel that you have to make the circle big unless you want to. But maybe if it does feel comfortable, you could find how big you could make that circle, finding that motion, that range of motion. Slowly circling. You might also feel your abdominals starting to do some of the work here to help you stay balanced on the side. And then you could try circling in the other direction as well. Slow and smooth circles. In fact, sometimes the slower you go, the more challenging it becomes. Really paying attention to the sensations in your body. Now you might decide that you'd like to continue circling here. Or perhaps next time your knee points up, pause there, flex your foot. You might feel a stretch starting to happen through your leg muscles. And from there, if you want to, extend your leg up. So your heel is pressing towards the ceiling. Now, it's still fairly early in the morning. Your leg might not be completely straightening yet. You might prefer to keep your knee a little bit bent. But just find where's a comfortable stretch for you. And then if you are holding that stretch, if you're feeling balanced, try lifting that hand away from the floor, maybe even reaching towards your toes. I realize that my foot and my hand are now cut off on the screen, but you could be maybe even finding your toes if you can reach that far, or otherwise just reaching towards them. Take a couple of nice, smooth breaths here. And then whenever you're ready, hand comes back down, bend your knee, lower your foot. Bring your knee back on top of the other one. And we're going to switch that over to the next side. So you might like to simply roll yourself over to your second side. I'm going to change sides, so I'm looking towards you. And again, set yourself up, whether you're reaching your arm out, resting your head, or whether you have a blanket there. Setting yourself up, both knees stacked, feet stacked. And then starting to lift the top knee. So pointing your knee up and starting to slowly circle. Now, it might be that one side feels different. Like for me, this feels tighter in my left hip. So that's completely normal because we're not robots. Quite often have differences between the left and the right. And again, your circle might be fairly small. Just find what feels best, what feels comfortable. While also feeling some mobility happening there. Maybe you can feel the abdominals starting to work. And then you could try going in the opposite direction with those circles. Feeling curious as to how your body is responding to this movement. And then you could continue with those circles or pausing with the knee pointing up, try flexing your foot. And from there, you could try extending your leg. And again, whether that knee is staying a little bit bent, you still might be feeling a great stretch happening there. Or if you're able to straighten your leg, this one I'm not able to quite straighten just yet. And then if you want to, reaching that arm. So your fingertips are reached towards your toes, maybe finding your toes or just reaching towards them. Remember to breathe, really observing each breath in and each breath out. And then when you're ready, you can lower your hand, lower your foot. Great. And then lower your knee back down. So from here, I'll invite you to roll to the front of your body. And you could bring your hands, or you could have a cushion or a folded blanket. You could bring your hands on top of each other. You could rest your forehead down there. And I'm just keeping the front of my thigh, the front of my pelvis is connected to the floor, but I'm keeping my legs lifted, so my feet are kind of towards the ceiling. I'm just going to sway my legs a little bit, one side to the other. Whether you're swaying or whether you're still noticing all the places where the front of your body is connecting to the floor beneath you, feeling that sense of being grounded, being supported. Okay, and then you can let the legs come down whenever you're ready. Let your feet come down. Either stay here for an extra few breaths, or you might like to come to child's pose. If you'd like to come to child's pose, plant your hands so they're beneath your shoulders. Press down into your hands, lifting your torso, lifting your hips, and then taking your sitting bones back towards your heels, whether you're keeping your knees together or whether you'd like to have the knees out wide, and then finding a place to rest your forehead. So again, that could be on your hands, or you could have a blanket, or maybe you could be resting your forehead right down on your mat. Letting your face be soft. Letting your throat be soft. Letting your belly be soft. Maybe you could notice the sensation of your breath more in the back of your body. See if you can feel that gentle expansion through the back of your rib cage or the back of your waist or the back of your pelvis. And if you'd like to stay here longer, of course you can, but if you do feel ready, then start to lift your head, start to walk your hands in. Come on up. I'll invite you to come to standing. If you do need longer, sitting or in child's pose, and stay right there. You can always join whenever you're ready. But if you're ready, if you'd like to, come on up to stand. Just making sure I don't chop my head off there. Okay, that looks all right. So I thought we might do some really nice flowing sequences, standing sequences, the 4-part Qigong sequence. Yeah, I just think bringing the movement and the breath together today, let's do that. So if you start with the feet just a little bit apart, let's warm up a tiny bit more through the spine. So feet a little bit apart, arms nice and loose by the sides, beginning to twist. So letting your arms wrap around your waist, maybe letting your hands lightly thump your rib cage, looking behind you. Notice I'm lifting my heel, so I'm not twisting my knee. I'm letting the twist happen through my spine. And then stay with this if you want to, or you might like to change and start to shake out through your body. Start with your fingers and your hands, then your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, your head. Start to shake through your hips, your legs. You could be bouncing a little bit. You could fold forward and shake towards the ground, or you could reach up high and shake towards the ceiling, or both, or you might shake your arms around in a circle one way and then the other, or you might draw big circles in the air, or you might just be dancing around your lounge room, or just have a bit of a shake out, however it feels good, letting go of something. Shake, 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 shake. A little bit more. A little bit more. And then pause, letting everything be still. And if it feels okay, close your eyes, or otherwise you could be looking down to the floor. I invite you to really ask yourself how you're feeling inside. Can you notice a sense of warmth or coolness? Notice maybe a feeling of like energy flowing through your body. What can you notice? Maybe you could simply notice your breath. And when you feel ready to, reopening your eyes and standing in mountain pose. So if you have your feet about the same width as your hips, or a little bit wider or a little bit closer, it's a place where you feel really stable. And then when you're ready to breathe in, try lifting your heels away from the floor. So you're on the balls of your feet. When you exhale, lower down. You could bring the arms in as well. So as you breathe in and lift your heels, you could also lift your arms and reach towards the sky. And then when you exhale, lower your heels and your arms out and down. You could just be working with the arms, or you could just be working with the feet. Let's see if you can have a gaze point straight out in front, which will help you balance. And letting your breath be the guide for your movement. So by really linking the breath and the movement together, it really brings you right into this present moment. You can't be thinking about the past or the future. To be able to link those two really well together. Right here and now. And just finishing off one more. Great, you might like to have another little shake or wriggle through your shoulders, have a little bounce on the spot if you want to. And then let's work with the temple pose next. So I really like this one it's really good for a sense of groundedness, because we're really working with the large leg muscles here. So we step the feet wider apart and having the toes pointing out to the diagonals, starting to bend your knees. And you want your knees pointing the same way as your toes. Bend your knees and then straighten. If you find that as you bend your knees, they're coming way over top of your ankles, then you need to take your feet a bit wider. So just exploring that, see how that feels. Notice the muscles that are starting to wake up. Saying hello to those muscles, maybe for the first time today. And then if you'd like to, you can pause in your temple pose. Either pause right here in center, or maybe swaying a little bit one side to the other. And then finding the center. If you were swaying, press into the soles of your feet, and from there, straighten through your legs, calming up again. Fabulous. So let's do the 4-part sequence. So there's 4 movements with the arms. Again, we'll be moving with the breath, and we'll be moving, and everything's optional, but we'll be moving into temple with the exhale, straightening through the legs on the inhale. So this is one that you can just leave the legs out and just do the arms if you want to. This could be done sitting on a chair or sitting on the floor if you want to. So turning your palms to face out. When you're ready to breathe in, take a sun breath. Palms touch overhead. And then with the exhale, as you come back to temple, press your palms straight out to the side. Then reach down towards the ground, and with an inhale, lift all the way up. Reach towards the sky. And then with the exhale, bend your elbows, palms face down, lower in front. Come back to temple. That was the 4 parts. Let's continue on. Inhale, sun breath. With your exhale, press out to the sides, like you're pressing something away. And then reach down towards the earth, like you're gathering all the energy you need. Lift all the way up with your inhale. And then with your exhale, as though you're bringing that energy down through the center of your body. I'll stop talking and I encourage you to follow your own breath, letting your movement be guided by your breath. So wherever you are, perhaps just one more round. And when you finish that round, you might bend your knees as you lower down. Then you could bring your elbows or your forearms to rest on your thighs. And here, having your head and heart in line, looking down towards the floor. Now, option to stay right here. This might feel like a really nice, sort of strong pose to be in. Really nice to strengthen through the legs. Or option to take your heels a little bit wider so you're making your feet become parallel, starting to straighten more through your legs. So you're either in a half forward fold, and anyone with high blood pressure or a heart condition would stay here with head and heart in line. Or you could bring your hands to your legs and start to fold further down if you want to. This could also be with a chair, or if you have blocks or blankets, to bring your hands down to the floor or to your support. Or hands could come to your shins or your ankles, or maybe right down to your feet. Just see how that feels. And then if it feels like a comfortable stretch, allowing your body to be in relative stillness here, but continue focusing on the natural flow of your breath and the sensations in your body. Another option I'll offer you here is to take both hands across to one side. So you could be bringing your hands to your leg, your foot, or if you have a support there, you could have your hands on the support. And then perhaps, depending on how far you're folding forward, you might be looking towards your knee. Take a few nice deep breaths in and out here. And then switch that over. You're taking your hands across towards the other foot. Really paying attention to where you're connecting to the floor, the soles of your feet. Feeling that support from the earth beneath you. Noticing sensations inside your body. cultivating that inner awareness and the sensation of your breath. If you did take that side version, find your way back to center. And then to come out of the pose, you might like to try bringing the heels in again. So the feet are once again on the diagonal. Bending your knees. So you're coming back to a temple pose shape. Bring your elbows or your forearms back to rest on your thighs for a moment or two. And from there, think of your navel center drawing in. Slowly begin to round up as you lift all the way up again. You might want to roll the shoulders a few times. And stepping in from there. If you want to have another shake out for your legs or your arms, go ahead. Okay, so I invite you to, let's do one more standing pose. I was going to say let's come down to lying, but let's do tree pose. Seeing as the sun's shining, why not? Let's do tree pose. And I know you're both nature lovers like me, so anything to do with a tree is going to be all good. All right, so just making sure you're nice and centered. I'm just having a little bit of sway forward and back. I'm lifting up my toes. I'm spreading my toes out wide. Now I'm going to lift one knee, turning the knee out just to a place that feels comfortable for your hip and your pelvis. Foot could be by the side of the ankle or to the inside of the shin or to the inside of the thigh. And then pressing your foot quite firmly into your leg. Feel that connection between your foot and your leg. Once you're balanced, join your palms together at your heart center. Soft through your shoulders. Crown of your head is lifting. You can either pause here, find your gaze point straight out in front of you, or if you'd like to, you could reach your arms up. Checking that you're still breathing easily. A little bit of a sway is totally normal, totally human. Just hold that gaze point steady. And think of the energy lifting up through the tips of your fingers or up through the crown of your head. And then when you're ready to release, let the arms slowly come down. And then release your foot. Have a little walk on the spot or stretch through your toes or your feet. Let's practice tree pose for the next side. So again, you're going to take your knee out, find your place you'd like to bring your foot, and then feel that connection with the sole of your foot connecting with your leg. Think of your navel center just lightly drawing in towards your spine. Once you're steady, palms join at your heart center, shoulders soft. Crown of your head is lifting as though there's an invisible string at the crown of your head lifting. Someone is lifting you upwards. Hold your gaze point steady. Hands staying here at the heart center, or maybe you'd like to reach your arms up. Fingertips are reaching, or you could even take the arms out wide if that feels better. Letting your mind be quiet just for this moment. And letting your breath flow. And then gradually releasing your arms and releasing your foot. Have a little walk out or stretch through your toes, and then we will come down to the floor, lying down on the backs. And we'll do a little bit of movement here, lying down on the backs, and then we will move to Shavasana. So if you do want to have your blankets and cushions and things nearby for Shavasana, then go ahead, so you won't have to move too much. So if you lie yourself on your back with your feet planted to the floor, knees point straight up, feet about the same width as your hips, encouraging your shoulders to sink down. Imagine if you had weights tied to the back of your shoulder blades. So drawing the back of your shoulder blades down and a feeling of openness across your collarbones. Hands could be resting on your belly or resting on the floor. Finding a centered place for your head to rest. We'll work with some pelvic tilts, and from there we'll go into a flowing half bridge. So again, it's completely up to you. Everything is an invitation, so see what feels best for your body. So I'd like to start with the pelvic tilts first, so you can really feel it more. The smaller the movement, I notice the more, it's more of a subtle movement, but the more activation that happens in the deep core, in the muscles of the deep core. So first of all, notice in the neutral position, you'll have a little space between your lumbar spine and the floor. Just the natural curves of your spine. This is the neutral position. Breathing in the neutral position. And then when you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor. So you'll notice that you tilt your pelvis back to be able to lower your back. And then with the inhale, find your way back to neutral. And again, as you exhale, flatten your back down. And with your inhale, come back to neutral. Now you could continue this if that feels helpful, if that feels good. Continue with your breath. You might also like to work with the pelvic floor muscles. Pelvic floor muscles are the base of the core. So if you would like to work with pelvic floor muscles, when you come to neutral on your inhale, let the pelvic floor area be soft. And then when you exhale, as you lower your back down, gently engage your pelvic floor muscles. Coming back to neutral with your inhale, let the pelvic floor be soft. And with the exhale, as you flatten your back, and engaging hug and lift of the pelvic floor. If anything doesn't feel right, just leave it out or change it however you need to. You could continue with these pelvic tilt movements if you like, or next time, bringing your arms to the sides of your body, palms face down. Next time you flatten your back down, then press into the soles of your feet, begin to lift your pelvis away from the floor and maybe the lower back. Lifting up a little bit with the first one. And then when you exhale, slowly rolling down vertebra by vertebra. And then each time, if that feels helpful, each time you lift, you might lift a tiny bit more. Pressing down into your feet, your arms, your shoulders. Slowly peeling each vertebra away from the floor. And then when you exhale and lower, you're lowering each vertebra one at a time. Or thinking about that. Now, if you'd like to bring the arms in as well, completely optional. If you want to bring the arms in with the inhale, as you lift up, then the arms could go up and overhead. Maybe the backs of the hands could touch the floor behind. And then with the exhale, as you lower your spine, then the arms also come back down to connect with the floor. And just aiming to keep your head centered. So hopefully you aren't looking towards the screen, either looking up towards your ceiling or having your eyes closed. You might continue to make this flowing with your breath, or maybe with the next one, you might like to hold it. If you're holding it, then keep the arms by the side. If you'd like to hold that half bridge, just lifting to a place where it feels comfy, pressing your shoulders down quite firm. Arms could stay where they are, or you could bring your hands in together and interlace your fingers underneath, pressing down into your shoulders, your arms, sides of your hands, and your feet. You might notice a little bit of a constriction in the throat area as the upper chest comes closer towards your chin. And then you could hold for a little bit longer if you want to, or if you're ready to come out, then release your hands and slowly lower down, as though you're lowering one vertebra at a time. And you could then draw your knees in. Once you've lowered down, you could draw your knees towards your chest. And you could keep the knees close together, or you could take the knees apart. Like I like to bring my knees kind of towards my armpits a little bit. You could hold your knees, your shins, or wrap your arms around your legs and rock gently one side to the other. As you rock, noticing where your body is connecting to the ground, how that's changing. You could continue with the rocking if you want to, or bring the soles of your feet together, having the knees apart, and then reaching down towards your ankles, or maybe even reaching down to find your feet. So pressing your knees out, keeping your head and your shoulders connecting to the ground. And then gently releasing that down, release your feet to the floor. You may like to take a full body stretch here, or you could come back to the rocking. If you're taking a full body stretch, you might be reaching out through your fingertips, pointing your toes. Feel that lengthening through the sides of your body. Notice where you can feel the sensation of your breath. Maybe your rib cage, your belly, maybe more into the sides of the rib cage and the abdomen. And then letting everything melt, let everything feel heavy. I'll invite you to get ready for Shavasana. So that might mean if you have a blanket nearby, you might like to pop that over your body. You might want to pop cushions or a bolster beneath your knees, maybe even a folded blanket beneath your head, or if you have an eye pillow or an eye cover, or if you have an extra blanket, you could pop that over your eyes. Making yourself really comfy and really warm. I had this excellent dream last night that I had a big group of people here in the yoga room, and everyone was doing Shavasana. It was really good. I've had a few of those types of dreams since lockdown, that I've got way too many people in the yoga room, but I never get into trouble. Okay, so making sure you're really comfy and really warm, because the aim of relaxation is to let the nervous system come back to a place of balance, coming back to the window of tolerance, to know that everything's comfortable, everything's safe, and your body is fully supported. Have a wriggle until you're feeling really centered. Have a bit of a wriggle through your shoulders or through your hips, or sway your head a little bit one side to the other. And then you might just ask yourself, how does the left side of my body feel, and how does the left side of my body connect to the ground compared to how does the right side of my body feel, and how does the right side of my body connect to the ground? So I'm just inviting you to be curious and sometimes just noticing. There might be, like, for example, maybe the left half of your pelvis feels more connected to the ground than your right half. And then you might just have a little bit of a wriggle to see if you can feel more centered or more comfortable there. Closing your eyes if you haven't already. I invite you to return your awareness to the natural flow of your breath. See if you can feel maybe warmth or coolness inside your nostrils as you breathe. Or can you notice the sensation of your breath inside your throat, or your chest, or your belly? And then allowing your body to soften. Softening from the crown of your head, and then the inside of your head, softening the inside of your throat, inside of your shoulders and your arms and your hands, softening inside your chest, your abdomen, your pelvis, softening inside your hip socket, right through your legs and your feet. Wherever you're taking that feeling of softness, also taking the feeling of kindness and care towards yourself. Softness and kindness and care, allowing those feelings to flow right through your whole body, every single muscle, every bone, every cell. Softness, kindness, care. softness and kindness and care flowing right through your whole body. And the whole of your body completely relaxed. So you're more than welcome to stay in stillness. Stay right where you are if you want to. Or you may like to begin to deepen your breath. Or you may like to begin some gentle movements, maybe your fingers, your toes, your ankles, your wrists. Maybe taking another full body stretch and lengthening right through the sides. Maybe hugging your knees in. Or maybe there's some other gentle movement that would feel good. But if you do want to stay in complete stillness, that's totally okay. Please listen to what feels best. Listen to your inner guidance system. And only if you do want to begin to make your way towards sitting, you could roll yourself onto one side, rest there on your side for an extra breath or two, or maybe just deciding to stay on your side. But if you do want to, from there, you could slowly come to a comfortable seated position. And whether you do come to sitting or whether you are lying down, you might like to bring your hands to connect with your body. Only if that feels supportive. So you could bring your hands to your belly, to your chest, maybe one hand to your belly, one hand to your chest. Maybe hands could come to your legs or your knees if you're sitting. Keeping your eyes softly closed or otherwise lowering your gaze towards the ground. Noticing your breath flowing in and flowing out. Being right here in this moment. Asking yourself how you're feeling on the inside. However it is you're feeling, accepting it fully and accepting yourself fully, embracing yourself fully in this moment. And either staying right where you are, or you may like to join your palms together at your heart center, softly bowing your head. And then I'll invite you to bring your awareness into your heart chakra, your heart space. Saying thank you to yourself for this gift of your time and this dedication to your own well-being. Letting your heart be filled with gratitude. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all beings never be parted from freedom's true joy. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, and I hope you have enjoyed today's yoga practice. Namaste.